Hello, today we are here in Italy, in Milan, and today we are here with Juliana.
Hi.
So this is a very special day for me and for this YouTube channel because this is my first interview on this channel, and this is why you are my honored guest. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And welcome. Yeah.
Thanks.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, despite of this weather that we're basically getting cooked.
Yeah, it's pretty hot, right?
It's pretty hot.
So Juliana, one of the first things I noticed when I first met with you was that you have a very smooth English. It's very fluent and it's very understandable. You have a decent American accent. So can you please tell, when did you start learning English?
Thank you, first of all.
Of course.
And I started learning English when I was probably 13 or something. I remember that I was really bad in English when I was a child. So my mom just decided to put me on this English course with a British lady, and there's where I just get my basis.
So you started in an English course, right?
Yeah, I started on an English course. And I was there, I took this English course for 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
Great. And I wonder, did you have any lessons in education system in school?
Oh, the education system of my school, it's not that good. I think in general, the school is not the best place to learn a decent English.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you're from Colombia, right?
Right. Yeah.
I think many of the countries have the same problem. I mean, we have lectures in the schools, English lectures, and we take them for maybe 5 years, 10 years. But when we complete them, we leave the school by not knowing English.
Yeah.
I think this is a problem of the many developing countries, I think I can say. In Europe, maybe things are different, but yeah.
I think here in Italy it's not that different, actually. I think when you just go out of the school, you just have the necessary English to communicate if you go out there. But not for having a decent conversation, probably. For holding a conversation, I think it's not enough.
I think you're right, yeah. Maybe Italy, maybe Spain, France are also, or maybe we can consider them as those countries where you don't learn English in schools.
Yeah.
And you said you started learning English by the age of 13, right? How old are you today?
Oh, I'm 28.
You're 28, and
so
you have been speaking English for 15 years at least, right?
Yeah, I think, when I started, I was probably not able to handle a conversation. It took me a real long while. Even after finishing this course, I didn't feel that confident to talk with somebody. So I had to, start improving with movies and music. And something really fun I used to do, it's go and chat roulette. And just starting to talk with random people.
That's great.
Just trying to look for someone who wants to talk to me in English to practice.
That's great. And I wonder, you said you took lessons with that British lady for 3 or 4 years, right? And what kind of a method you followed together? I mean, was it a private lecture or is it a group lesson?
It was a group lesson, but with probably we were 4 people there.
4 people.
Yeah, it was really personalized. But it was conventional method with books and just fill in the blank spaces in a book, and really boring, to be honest.
Yeah, one of the things I tell to my audience all the time is that if you try to learn English through studying grammar books or following the conventional methods taught in English schools, I think you're gonna fail because, those methods don't work. And I think you agree with me.
Yeah, absolutely. If that's the only method you're following, I don't think it's gonna work. You will definitely start talking to people and really put in a lot of yourself to have a decent level. That's what I think.
And I assume we don't have a lot of opportunity to make some English practice in English schools, right? Because we waste our time with the other things, as we talked, grammar books and so.
Yeah.
And what were the other methods you said you followed after you completed your English school?
Well, after completing my courses, I felt that the education I was receiving from my school wasn't enough at all. not really. So the thing I did is just really try by myself watching movies in English with English subtitles. Because when you start like watching movies and everything, you don't really understand what the people is saying because they speak too fast.
Yeah.
And also the accents and stuff. So it's really helpful to have the subtitles like in the English movies to keep up and catch up and like understand everything you're listening to. And also with music and doing a lot of karaoke, even if I sing terrible, I should say. And also social media. Like
how do you mean social media?
Yeah, like a lot of accounts, and I don't know, on Instagram there's a lot of profiles that teach you English and speaks you, I don't know, like just give you tools to understand and tips and stuff. And also YouTube channels help me a lot. So yeah, that's my personal method.
Great. I think making karaoke works amazing.
Oh my god, like music really push you up to speak in English and really helps you with the pronunciation. And also, I don't know, it's a really good boost.
Yeah, it's a fun way of learning English, I think,
It's
right?
a really fun way, yeah.
So, as I understand, you started English course by the age of 13 and you stayed there for like 3-4 years, you said, right?
Right.
And when you completed English school, you were like 18 years old, more or less.
17.
So basically, you were an adult and you kept continue learning English as an adult. Because as I know, children learn their native languages until the age of 11 or 12. After that, it's considered as a second language.
Yeah.
So my question for you is, do you think is there any difference between learning a language as an adult or as a child? Do you have any insights about that topic?
I think for me, it was quite better learning as an adult. I know it probably makes no sense because everyone says that when you're a child, it's easier. You just have better memory, and I don't know, you're like a sponge and you just absorb all this knowledge around you have.
Yeah.
But for me, like being conscious as an adult and really wanting to learn everything, I think it was a better experience for me learning like as an adult, because as a child probably it was my mom like trying to push me to learn English. But as an adult, and when I realized that when I go out of my country and I don't know, start doing something else, it was like myself pushing myself.
I totally agree with you. Actually, recently I recorded 2 videos on this channel and I talked about why learning English as an adult is actually easier, and actually why we have some certain advantages that children don't have. And as I understand, you agree with me also, so that's great news.
Yeah.
And also, I want to ask you this question. You know, many people complain about they can understand English, but they can't speak it. Do you have any idea why this is happening?
I think this is just a stage of a learning process for me. Like, I think when you start learning any language, you just arrive to this point and say, yeah, I can understand, but I cannot speak it. But I think it's a matter of pushing a little bit more and like keep going with your learning process till the point you can start having a conversation. And also like probably stop being shy. I mean, we all make mistakes. The first time I tried to speak with someone else, I was just there in the chat roulette with some random stranger I don't know, and I knew I was making a lot of mistakes. With the time I started improving, but I think it's just a normal stage when you're learning a language.
I totally agree, and actually this was going to be the question, my next question that I wanted to ask you. I was going to ask, I mean, at the same time, many people say I feel very shy when it comes to speaking another language, speaking English, and maybe they don't admit it, they don't say I'm shy, but we can understand they are shy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's at a crazy level in my country, in Turkey, and everybody says, I can understand English, but I can't speak it. I agree with you, and I think it's a great approach, like by saying it as a phase of learning English. But I think people need to feel more confident, even though they make mistakes, just as we do. And just go out there and speak as much as possible, because if you don't speak, it's not possible to improve your speaking skills. I mean, you can improve your listening comprehension, reading comprehension, and they can have a carryover effect on speaking. But if you want to improve your speaking abilities, the best thing you can do is speaking as much as possible.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me at least, I knew I wanted to go out of the country, and I knew that English was gonna open me up a bunch of possibilities.
Yeah.
So the main point of everything was like being able to speak.
Yeah, I totally
So,
agree.
Yeah.
And I wonder, do you have some ideas about like how English contributed to your life? I mean, what kind of benefits you acquired from learning English?
Well, the world it's a really big place, and
It is.
like it is.
Yeah.
So once you learn English, it's like the world opens up to you, like definitely. And like there's something we say usually with my mom. I don't know if it's a popular way of saying worldwide, but it's like not knowing English, like in this century, it's like not knowing any language in the last century.
Great.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I think it really opens you every door. Like in the world, you will be able to communicate with everyone. You will get a lot of more chances to get the job you want. You can learn a better education, like in better institutions and universities worldwide, because the better universities have also courses in English. You were gonna be able to know a bunch of cultures you would never imagine, and that's real nice. I mean, without English, we couldn't be talking to each other right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's more than important. It's necessary. It's a matter of, I don't know, survive in this world right now. Like, it's not just an advantage. For me, it's a must.
I'm sorry, I interrupt you, but I totally loved it when you said not knowing English is like not knowing any languages in modern world. And there are some data, there are some actually research estimating that by 2050, half of the world population will speak in English. And nowadays this is like 20% or maybe a little bit more. But it's going to be like, I mean, this is my estimation, but knowing English is going to be the difference between sophisticated people and mediocre people.
Yeah.
So I think like if you don't want to be left out, we should know English.
You have to
be a world citizen.
Yeah, you have to stay on track. And also that maybe right now it's not that easy to have excuses to not learn English. You have a lot of tools on the internet. I don't know, you can improve your speaking. You have AI, you have courses, you have YouTube channel videos that it's really helpful.
Like this one.
Like this one.
Great, yeah. And you know, we talked about some people feel shy to speak in English, and this is why they can't improve their speaking skills. And I also used these kind of methods. And I wonder, have you tried some of them, or would you recommend to some other people to try it? But there are some methods we can use to improve our speaking skills just by ourselves without needing anybody else. For example, I recommend shooting shooting videos like this and maybe explaining one topic, or maybe recording your voice by the end of every night and talking about your day, or maybe learning something and then summarizing that thing into, again, a video or to the voice recorder. Have you tried these kind of methods to improve your speaking?
Not really. I never tried them before, but something I used to do a lot, and it was, I don't know, actually it was really helpful, was like just talking to myself in my mind, like try to say everything I was doing in English in my head.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, imagine conversations, like unreal conversations, and just go ahead with my English until I have the opportunity to really talk with someone else.
This is one of the best methods, actually, to improve our speaking skills, even though we don't actually speak. This is how we learn to think in English. And as I always say, without learning to think in English, we can't speak. I mean, we can't be fluent, let's say, because all the time we will be like translating in our heads from our native language to English, and we are not going to be fluent in English.
That's not the idea.
Yeah. And I also wonder, you know, there are different components of English, like listening, reading, speaking, and writing. Do you think in these components, is there any of them which is more important than the other ones? I mean, can we say reading is more important than listening, or speaking is more important than writing? Do you have an idea like this, or do you think all of them are equally important to become a competent English speaker in general?
I think all of them are important, but for me, like in my personal experience, I think speaking and listening was like the main ones.
Yeah.
Like also my focus, because when I improved my listening and my speaking, I improved the other ones as well. So I think those ones and being able to have a conversation will automatically improve your capacity of, I don't know, just writing the text or reading the text. I don't know. Also, yeah, basically that.
Yeah, once again, I agree with you. I think the first thing we should do is get exposed to English as much as possible, and mostly through listening. Reading is good. I mean, I don't have a problem with reading. Actually, I'm a huge fan of reading. But when we listen, our brains develop the necessary neural connections to understand the language and digest it, and then we are able to produce the language. Just as children do, you know, they don't have the ability to read or write, but they get exposed to the language just by listening for several years, and then they automatically learn. So this is why, yeah, speaking and listening are, I think, the most important two ones.
I agree.
And at this point, I want to a little bit talk about motivation. I mean, on this YouTube channel, I mostly say use this framework. If you want to learn English, don't give your focus to learning English. Instead, I say look at your life, look at your problems, and try to figure out what are you lacking or what can you improve in your life. And I know I all the time give the same examples, but I think they work. So this is why I say maybe if you're having a problem with your partner, just try to understand what can you do to improve your relationship with your partner and learn about that topic by using English. Or it can be something else. If you want to lose weight, I say learn about how to lose weight, but learn it through English. Just make some research on YouTube, make some research by reading articles, and summarize the things you learn. Maybe write down a couple of things to your journal and focus on something else. And this is how you're going to automatically learn English, even though you don't consciously work on English. You're working on something else, something greater than English. I explain it like that. Learn success mindset. Learn about how to have a better life. I don't know. Topics, I mean, are countless, limitless. And this is how I say we can avoid being in the trap of motivation, you know. If we approach English, or if we approach this topic in general like this, we won't have to worry about feeling motivated to learn English, because we will be working on something else. This is mainly what I recommend on this channel, and I wonder, do you have some ideas or tactics or advices to, let's say, stay motivated to learn English? Or what should we do if we don't feel motivated, or if we see we are working on English and we see that we don't make progress, and that demoralizes us?
Well, I know it's really easy to feel stuck when you're not really feeling that you're going like forward. But I would say that's a really good trick, actually. Like learning something else through English is a really, really good trick. For instance, I remember that I really wanted to start doing exercise. So I started on YouTube, and my exercises were all in English, completely in English. So that really worked. Also, I'm really passionate by films. So every time I watch a film, it's gonna be on the original language. And right now in this world, we have a lot of films in English. It's like the common. So I always watch them in English. And I would say that's my personal case, even though we can like help everyone, I think, watching English, watching movies in English, but it's up to you. Like, what are you obsessed with? Just turn it in English. Yeah.
That's amazing. You were passionate about films, about movies, and that's how you leveraged that passion to learn English.
That was my bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody, I think, can find their own passions.
Yeah. Video games, for instance, I don't really play that much video games, but I think that's a really good boost too. Like, and I know there's like out there a lot of people obsessed with video games and stuff, so just do them in English. And yeah,
actually, you reminded me some of my old friends, and I remember them. They all told me like we learned English by using video games like Counter-Strike or League of Legends.
yeah,
I'm not sure about League of Legends, but the video games where you can communicate with other people by speaking, they learned English like that.
yeah.
It makes complete sense. And about motivation, I also say it's important for us to rely on self-discipline more than motivation, because motivation is a thing that comes and goes.
Yeah.
Some days you feel motivated, some days you feel unmotivated, but if we have self-discipline, I mean, we are going to do what we should do, whether we feel like it or not. And is there something you want to say about self-discipline in terms of learning English or in general?
Well, I don't really know. I mean, discipline, it's definitely the most important thing. You have to be constant. You have to basically do it every day.
Yeah.
But for me, I was like kind of obsessed. But I was obsessed with some other stuff too. It's just my obsessions were all in English all the time. Even if I didn't understand, I was learning new stuff every time. So being disciplined every day, even if you don't feel like it because you're obsessed with something else, it's, I think, also the main thing to learn English. Just turn your whole life in English, like in the higher level you can.
Yeah, you were obsessed about English, and it's probably because you had a strong why, a core desire, right?
Yeah.
And it said that, I think philosopher Nietzsche said this. I'm not exactly sure, but the one who has a why can undergo any how, something like that. But if you have a why, if you have a core internal desire, or if you are like Juliana, if you're obsessed, you can do. It's just a matter of time, and when you follow the right methods, the methods you'll learn on this channel, or I don't know, any other channel or any other article, you're gonna make it. I think that's it.
I think it's like also important for you to know that you can find your own method. Like, it's not said that I don't know, whatever method it's gonna work for everyone. So I think it's also a personal journey.
Yeah.
Also, all of these tools are very helpful.
Another great point. Yeah. If you can come up with your own methods, figure them out, probably you're gonna stick to them more, right?
Yeah. But it's something that you actually learn using the old methods.
Yeah, maybe by
There's
making some
not a
arrangements.
Yeah. You're gonna need boosts.
And lastly, is there anything else you want to say or add to me or to audience or about English in general?
Not really. I just hope people know the importance of learning English. Like, it's not a matter of choosing if you want to do it or not. You can maybe do that with a third language, but with English, it's just necessary.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks to you for having me for this nice chat.
Yeah, of course. You know, it's been an amazing, insightful conversation, and you literally walk me and the audience through the steps which I released, or let's say I shared on this channel, because you talked about all the important points about motivation, about using the methods, about having a mindset, and I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
No, you led the conversation very well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Then that's it for today's video. As always, if you want to hear more tips and tricks about learning English, keep following this channel and take care of yourself. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Yeah.